Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Great to have you here today on our special weekend edition of the show called our Cabral HouseCalls. And what we are going to do is what we do each and every weekend, and that is answer our questions that have come in from our global health community, people all over the world looking for their answers to their wellness, weight loss, anti-aging, and all sorts of questions in between. So I hope that you've joined us on previous weekend-based shows. It's really exciting to be able to see what questions are coming in, and I can almost guarantee you that each and every show, there will be something for everyone, meaning like it may not be something that's applicable right now to your life, but I'm almost guaranteeing that someone you know, a coworker, friend, family, loved one, that is suffering from this. And if we begin to kind of be able to recall that information, we can share this information with those people that need it the most. And that's really why I do these shows, as we're going to have a database. I mean, we have a database now of, I believe, over 5,000 questions answered. And what we're going to be able to do is really refer back to all of these shows in the future. So if you want to go for all the questions today, head on over to stephencabral.com/1415. So we've done over 1,500 shows, and we know that 2 out of each week of those are going to be house calls. So we've just answered so many questions that I want you to know at any time, you can go to stephencabral.com/podcasts, and you can type in whatever your keyword is, whether it be something like keratosis pilaris or multiple sclerosis or migraine or, I mean, just like anything that you could think of. If we've talked on that topic, you're going to be able to search it right there. So I just want you to know it's turning into quite a large database, and I'm excited about that because we know how many people come to the site and we know how many people are searching, and we've also tried to up our game as well. Now we're breaking down the podcast into specific topics. You can scroll along the top at stephencabral.com/podcasts and actually find the topics that are best for you. And you can even separate the podcast by days of the week. Mindset and Motivation Monday, Total Wellness Tuesday, Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday, Training Thursday, Friday reviews, and then, of course, the house calls on the weekend. So that's all based on your feedback. I want you to know that we do listen. We really do. We're always trying to improve for you to make sure that we're stepping up our game. All right. So without further ado, as I like to say, let's dive right into the questions. Again, if I've already answered the question, I will be referring back to previous podcasts. And that's because the questions today are coming in from February 3rd, and today is March 29th. So we're about 8 weeks behind. And that's why I don't want to skip over anyone's question. It's not that I don't think it's important, but I've already answered many of these questions. And because of that, I simply want you to go back and just say, oh, okay, there it is. There's the full answer. We don't need to review it again. So for example, the first question is from Ryan. Ryan says, thoughts on the Kangen water machine. So all I have to do is go to stephencabral.com/podcast and type in Kangen, and you'll see on episode 322 that I answered that. So Ryan, head on over to stephencabral.com/322 for that answer. All right, Jamie's up next. Jamie's asking, hi, Dr. Cabral. I was wondering your thoughts on whole body vibration machines. I have one that oscillates in a triangular pattern up and down on each side, one side up, the other side down, and vice versa. I know you don't have much time on the house calls, but would you consider doing a podcast on these machines and how they can possibly fit into the DESTRESS protocol? Thanks as always. Jamie, thank you for writing in, and I actually like whole body vibration machines. I really do. Now, it depends on the resonance that we're using. So, for example, I just did a review. Let me give you the podcast, Jamie, that I think would be helpful. It was on episode 1491. I did a podcast on the Healthy Line, Matt, and It uses PEMF. It uses negative ions, so helping with earthing. It uses far infrared detox. And it uses one more modality, which is called photon, so light-based therapy. So although it's not vibrational, it still has a specific resonance. Now, I've been using the VibraPlate and for exercise and for vibration for the body for quite some time. It's really great to move the lymphatic system. So all that you really need to look at is what's the goal of the machine? What's the resonance which it works at, meaning like the hertz? So is it in unison is it in unison with what the earth would naturally be replicated in terms of vibration? And then also, what are the EMFs for it? Is it lower EMF or not? So Jamie, hopefully that helps. And I'll definitely be doing more on these PEMF mats, which is pulsed electromagnetic frequency and vibrational-based machines in the future. Thank you for writing in. Anonymous is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. My friend was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer that is hormone positive. She did chemo and hormone therapy and has since eliminated all estrogen production in her body. She's 39 years old and just had a hysterectomy and will have estrogen eliminated for the rest of her life. As an IHP in training, I know that all hormones are there for a reason, and I'm wondering, as her friend, how can I help guide her to be healthy for the rest of her life without estrogen? Any tips, any books you recommend on this? Thanks. It's a great question, and obviously you're a very caring friend, and I'm glad that you're helping her out. I'm glad that you're an integrative health practitioner, health coach as well. So our job is this. Our job is, okay, if she's on estrogen elimination for the rest of her life, well, what can we do? Well, our job is to look to make sure that all facets of her body are as healthy as humanly possible. So we know that lower levels of estrogen could affect her skin, her hair, her mood, her cholesterol. So we want to look at that. And there are other factors as well. So what our job is to make sure that we can get her as healthy as possible through exercise and through nutrition and the DESTRESS protocol. So Anonymous, what I would say is write down, like every IHP should write down the DESTRESS protocol. What does my client's diet look like? Is it a predominantly plant-based diet, especially for someone with cancer? And what does that look like? Okay. Are they balancing blood sugar? Okay, now we're moving on to exercise. What's their exercise like? Lower levels of estrogen, we want to boost the mood. We want to, make sure the skin is healthy. We want to do all those things. So let's get exercise going. Then stress reduction. And then toxin removal. Still, we should be doing, specifically someone prone to cancer, doing our functional medicine detoxes. What's her sleep like every night? 8 hours? Well, let's make sure she's getting into deep sleep. Let's look at her emotional balance, supplement protocols, at least daily foundational protocol, level 2 or level 3. At least. And then we want to look at her success mindset, right? Really important with someone that's gone through cancer before. So Anonymous, that is where I would start. That is what I would do. And hopefully she can read the rain barrel effect as well. Paul is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you so much for helping us in our health journey. My stool test results were okay, but leaky gut was not tested, and I also have high IgA. I have horrible eczema, acne, and major food sensitivities, so I'm in the process of healing leaky gut through diet and supplementation, as I'm pretty sure I have it. I've eliminated all common allergies from my diet, but I continue to have eczema and acne. I cannot afford an IgG test, so my question is, can I heal my gut by just elimination of gluten, dairy, eggs, soy, nuts, and grains, or do I have to do an IgG test to eliminate those foods that may also be sensitive to? Paula, totally understand the question. I get where you're coming from. I get it as well in terms of like finances, right? I think you said I can't afford, right? Yeah, for sure. So I get it. Like I tell people all the time, my mom and I would go to all these doctor's appointments and we could only run a test or maybe 2 tests at a time. And that's what we did. And so that's fine. So Paula, I can't give you medical advice. I can't tell you how to treat things or diagnose things or cure things. That's out of my scope of practice. But what I would say is this. In your position, for someone like you, I would recommend the CBO protocol. And I would do that with the citracidal drops. And if you're confused as to how to do that, well, we send instructions along with it. Okay? And you can always email our team. And that's support@equilibriumnutrition.com. And so you do the CBO protocol. It guides you through how to do it. And then you use the CBO finisher. And then with that, you get the nutrition plan and everything that you need. That is what I recommend. Okay, so like if we can't lab test, that's exactly what I would do. All right, so thank you, Paula. A CBO protocol is at equilibriumnutrition.com. Again, you don't have to use it, but I'm giving you the advice that I would use, especially if we can't lab test. And that will help because elimination diet alone is probably not going to be the thing that fixes the gut microbiome. I just haven't seen it, right? In minor cases, yes. Major cases, no. So let's do it once. Let's do it right, and Let's get you well. Ryan's up next. And then, of course, one more thing is I'd recommend for that eczema too. But again, just rebalancing the body at an underlying root causal level is a good functional medicine detox. Get those toxins out of the bodies. All right, Ryan's up next. I always took my urine being somewhat clear to mean I'm well hydrated, but I've heard you say it could mean that you're losing electrolytes. Does gulping water make it go straight through you? How and why? Okay, well, there is theories on this that if you just kind of chug your water, that it does not allow you to properly assimilate it. So you're basically dropping it right into that bottom part of the stomach. So it could move through you too quickly. But what I would say is this, is Ryan, check out my podcast. I want to give you as much information as you need. So I want you to check out my podcast on how much water you actually need. So most people need about half their body weight in pounds, in ounces per day of water. So 160 pounds, you need about 80 ounces of water per day. That's about 10 cups. Again, this is super generalized, but it's a good place to start at least. Now, if you're more of the Vata-based body type, ectomorph body type, you typically need to add some sea salt and maybe a squeeze of lime in there as well for electrolytes. Or maybe you should be drinking more smoothies than just straight water. Again, it depends on the person, depends on fatigue, depends on how wiped out they are. And if you're drinking a lot of water, you may not need to be. You might actually be flushing your system too much, especially if it's on top of smoothies or smoothie bowls or herbal tea. Yeah, so that's really it. So that hopefully that, Ryan, that helps you with your answer, okay? Because you want to be hydrated, but you don't actually want to be overhydrated where you are dropping your blood sugar potentially too low and you're flushing a lot of minerals out of your body, namely electrolytes. Christy's up next. One way you can test this, Ryan, sorry, I'm over giving the information, is the specific gravity of your urine. So next time you go for your kind of wellness visit, you can actually check specific gravity. There are sometimes urine dipsticks that do this, and I actually have a device in my office where I can check specific gravity as well. And if it's too low, if it's on the lower end, then you could have not a lot of minerals in the urine. All right, Chrissy's up next. I'm a 42-year-old female and was diagnosed with MS in 2006. I recently went to the eye doctor and said I had optic neuritis, which I had a year ago, but it's now worse. Not sure what to do. Thanks. Okay, so thank you for writing in, Christy. We need to work at this at a foundational base level as well. So again, we're going back to the DESTRESS protocol. We need you on an anti-inflammatory diet plan. We need you on more of a Mediterranean style diet plan. We need you using something like the Daily Foundational Protocol Level 2. We need you doing a functional medicine detox. And if at all possible, assessing your labs through the Big Five, or at least the starter kit, which is the Candida metabolic and vitamins test, as well as the minerals and metals test to make sure there's no heavy metals. If you don't test for heavy metals, then you want to do a heavy metal detox as well. So again, I can't give you, I'm certainly not pretending to cure MS or say that that's what I'm doing, but here's what I would do. I would run those labs. And then what I would do is I would go into the 21-day functional medicine detox. Then I would wait for the lab results to come back. If you had gut-based issues, I would fix that. If you didn't, I would go into heavy metal detox. If you didn't run your heavy metals, if you did, well, you'll know if you need to do that or not. And then I would go into that foundational protocol level 2, and certainly using your omega-3s, which is part of that, and then use that eye-based care as well product I talked about before, which contains zeaxanthin as well as lutein. Those are the two big ones. There are other great ones as well, astaxanthin and others, but lutein and zeaxanthin are the big ones. And you can check out previous podcasts on vision care as well. So that's where I would start. And Christy, I hope that helps you and serves you well. Paula is up next. Really great length of questions. There's only like 3 sentences for each of these. It's pretty impressive. Okay, that means we're going to be able to get through a lot today. Again, if people want to read along with the questions, they can head on over to stephencabral.com/1514. Paula asks, hi, Dr. Cabral. Should meals be divided equally in protein, carbs, and fat? And do I need to eat protein at every meal to build muscle? Thank you so much for what you do. You are truly amazing. Paula, thank you so much. Really appreciate the kind words. We've done a bunch of shows on this specifically. So what I have to do is really refer you back to many of these. They're on Training Thursdays for the most part. Some of them are on Wellness Weight Loss Wednesdays. But let me give you a base answer, and then I'll allow you to kind of take it from here. You said building muscle. So I'm assuming it's different than having to burn body fat. Because if the goal is to burn body fat, it wouldn't be equal carbs at each meal. You would follow our Fatlocity system, which would actually enable you to go lower carb and then ease the carbs back in very specific ones at breakfast. And then if that's working great, then we add some more at lunch, but not at dinner yet, and then eventually at dinner. So really specific system. We're eating vegetables, don't get me wrong, 2+ cups at each meal, but it's different in terms of starches. So if you're looking to put on muscle though, well, it's different. And yes, you do need protein at each meal. So your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You want to do that in order to promote satiation, as well as if you're someone that's more of a hard gainer, and I have that in air quotes, that you always make sure that there's enough of those amino acids in your body. Plus, it's a great fuel source. I always talk about not overdoing protein, but if you're someone that wants to really put on muscle, a good place to start at least is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, or about half your body weight in protein per day. So grams of protein per day. So if you go back to a 160-pound person, you need about 80 grams of protein per day. And if you're looking to put on muscle, that would be pretty much the minimum. So hopefully that's helpful. And then in terms of your carbs and your fat, well, one of the big things with putting on muscle is people need to eat enough carbohydrates as well, because protein will be utilized as a form of glucose if it needs to be in order for repair and regeneration of muscle tissue, as well as replenishment of glycogen in the liver. So there we go. Hopefully that is helpful, Paula. Thank you for writing in. Laura is up next. I've heard that it is better to eat carbs, including fruit, later in the day, and having protein-based breakfast to avoid blood sugar spikes. Why do you recommend eating fruit and oats for breakfast? All right, well, it's a great question. And it's not for people with blood sugar dysregulation. So on my podcast, I always talk about fix your blood sugar, fix your blood sugar, fix your blood sugar, fix your blood sugar. So I don't actually say eat a lot of carbs at breakfast if you have high fasting glucose. And I talk about that inside of the Fatlocity system. I've talked about that on many, many podcasts. And I talk about that in the Rain Barrel Effect as well. So, but healthy people, and again, like that doesn't mean that, again, I'm talking negatively to anybody with fasting glucose levels that are high in the morning. It means let's fix those. We certainly can. And then let's get you on more of a human-based diet. So here's the thing, like eating carbs later in the day, you're less likely to burn them, like for sure. And it's not my philosophy like at all. And people are like, oh, well, you want to do them more at night because then that's going to help to calm cortisol. Well, you should be really calming cortisol all day long because we're in this pretty stressful world. So I actually recommend carbs at every meal. But you have to work up to them. So for example, if you're overweight, meaning like you need to lose weight, and again, like a lot of us have been there before, I've been there before for sure, that you need to get back to a healthy weight. And we do that again through the Fatlocity system. And I can't preach that enough because that's a full system. It comes with a whole course. Like we're not telling people, take these supplements, you'll lose the weight, do this. No. It's a full system based on the DESTRESS protocol, and it's specifically for weight loss. So we go low carb, and then we actually add in those berries, so lower glycemic at breakfast, and then we start to add starch at lunch, and we work our way up. But again, we allow the body to tell us when it's ready, and fasting glucose is a big part of that. So I actually recommend carbs at every meal. I recommend fat at every meal, and I recommend protein at every meal, and that is an Ayurvedic-based philosophy as well, and you get all of the tastes, and you satiate the body on every level in terms of neurotransmitter production, in terms of glucose, in terms of hormone balance, but we need to get there, Laura. So that's why if your blood sugar is dysregulated, I don't recommend carbs later in the day at all because I don't want you to have elevated glucose at bedtime because now you're going to be tapping into body fat, all sorts of different things. So hopefully that helped, Laura. Thank you. All right, Laura writes in, maybe the same person. Hi, Dr. Ball. In the process of healing leaky gut, I was wondering, what are your thoughts on grains, legumes right now? I'm also sensitive to hemp hearts now, so any protein substitutes for meals. Okay, well, if you are healing leaky gut, I mean, I'll tell you right now, and this is no ego attached to it, there is no program that will better serve you than our CBO protocol. There's just, no one's ever implemented, in my belief, more digestive-based programs than our team. I mean, really, I've gone through this myself now over 20 years, really worked on my digestive system from about 25 to 27, fixed it, but wasn't perfect, began to really tweak it over the next couple of years, and settled into a great program about a decade ago. We're finally finalizing that about 5 years ago. So the CBO protocol helps you heal the gut. And there's no way you're healing your gut through elimination diet alone. There is just no way. It's not going to happen. It's just not. I wish that was the truth. But go back, listen to my rants on the carnivore diet. Listen to my rants on Candida diets don't work. I've been there. I've done it. I understand. And it's because you need to rebalance the microbiome, the flora, the yeast, the bacteria, etc. And you can't just shrink it and then plan for it not to grow back and overgrowth when you start eating carbs again. So again, it's very, very specific. The CBO protocol, then the CBO finisher, and that's where it helps to rebalance the gut. So, and then Laura, I agree with you. Some people can't do grains and legumes. They just can't. Their body can't tolerate the fructans that are in them, and they can't tolerate the lectins that are in them. So with our CBO protocol, we give you a diet plan that allows you to figure that out. We give you all of the factors that could cause bloating-based issues and intestinal-based issues. Now, in the future, we'd love for you to be able to eat some beans, some lentils, some legumes. Sure, you get way more options. And the fiber from that and the other benefits from legumes can help with cardiovascular issues, type 2 diabetes, stroke, high blood pressure, cancer. So if we can, great. If we can't, that's okay. You'll still be a healthy human. Same with grains. I eat very little grains. I mean, people don't know that about me. I don't eat a lot of grains. I just don't. I eat more purple potatoes, Japanese yams, and sweet potatoes. A couple times a week, maximum, I might have some rice. And then, yes, I do have some oatmeal. Oatmeal works okay with my body. But again, might not work great with other people's body. Quinoa and millet don't work as great with my body. I don't do well with those smaller seed-based grains. I'm okay, but I know that it's not perfect for my body. So I don't eat a lot of them. And that's that. And then if you're sensitive to hemp hearts as well, I get it. So what do you do in terms of protein? Well, if you can't do beans, and you can't do lentils, and you can't do legumes, and a lot of these things are not working for you, well, we need to heal your gut so that eventually you could do some of those so you can be a little bit more plant-based. But for now, you need to eat more of your paleo-based proteins. Fish, eggs, and poultry. If you want to do some other types of meat, you can. So just make sure they're the cleaner variety. So hopefully that helps, Laura. Thank you. I love talking on this topic, and hopefully I didn't get too intense there. I get intense. I really do. So I apologize. I really do if I've gotten too intense. It doesn't mean that I don't love the questions and then they're not very fair questions. It's just that I know it works, and I see people suffering. And they could just follow the protocols that we know work. And that's the thing, and they could get well. So that's why I want the best for you. I really do. And so that's why I can be intense. All right, why don't we keep it at that for today? I'm going to cool myself down. I'll do some deep breathing. I'll do some alternate nostril breathing, and I'll be back tomorrow as well. So thank you everyone for tuning into this weekend's Cabral HouseCalls, and I'll be back tomorrow with our Mindset and Motivation Monday. You won't want to miss it. I'm going over my wins and my losses for the first quarter. I'm doing a self-check-in with you for the first 12 weeks of the year and how we can make our next 12 weeks the best 12 weeks yet. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the weekend. I'll talk with you soon. Are you ready to heal yourself and then go on to heal others? If so, the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute can help you discover proven functional medicine protocols that blend the best of 7 different healing disciplines from around the world. I personally share with you the exact handouts and protocols I use in my private practice that enable people to get well, lose the weight, and live longer, stronger. I want to pass this information on to the next generation of health coaches, and that is exactly why I created IHP. We are the future of the health coaching industry, and the skills and knowledge you will learn will make you an in-demand certified health coach anywhere in the world. Although we have many medical professionals taking the IHP certifications, no experience is necessary, and half our members have no previous health certifications. At the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, our motto is a health coach in every home. Our goal is that you take this knowledge and then share it with family, friends, loved ones, your community, or in a practice where you create a career you love and can be proud of. The global IHP community is filled with some of the most kind and caring people in the world, and we can't wait to welcome you into our world soon. For more information or to set up a discovery call with one of our IHP Health Coach graduates, simply head over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org.